Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to this space. It is wonderful to have you here, and I do not take it for granted. I'm actually having a tea with honey and lemon because, geez, I just overcame bronchitis and it's trying to come back, but I will not let it, right? We're resilient in this community. So, anyways, thank you for being here. Hello. Oh, hello, Sally. It's wonderful to have you here. I think you may be the first one. So, welcome. Add you there to the comment. All right. Good evening. It's wonderful to see you. Yes. All right. Oh, thank you. She says, glad you're feeling better. Thank you. All right. So, I have to say, tonight's topic is it is something that touches so many of us. And I felt compelled to do a live on this topic. And by the way, moving forward, our compassionate weekly accountability live streams will be themed. So if at any moment you want to bring up a topic that you want to for me to discuss further, to delve deeper into, please do not hesitate to drop it in the comments, message me. I would love to hear from you because that's what I'm here for, to serve you and hopefully to make this space feel safe so that we can heal and grow in community, right? Going back to the purpose and the reason why this came about is because this week, in particular, with coaching clients, with individual clients in therapy, this topic of fear of judgment kept coming up. It was just unbelievable. Each day, the topic of fear of judgment, people not pursuing their dreams, their passions. And I thought to myself, wow, I must go live and address this. Of course, this will not happen overnight, that we will overcome this fear. However, I'm hoping that after this live stream, you can walk away with a sense of more reassurance that you're not alone. We all struggle with this imposter syndrome, inner critics, outer critics, and external critics that often show up. And we are here, and hopefully we can delve a little bit deeper if you feel compelled to share and if it feels safe and comfortable for you, if you can share, right, where your fear of judgment comes from, because more often than not, it is something ingrained in us. Okay. So I want to share with all of, let's see. Oh, hello. Okay. Let me see. Sally says, being a parentified daughter, I am finally firm with my family when I need my self-care days. That's it. Not easy. Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that, because it is not easy. And this is the work that we are trying to do here, right? It says, it is done. It comes from me being the oldest. Yes, yes. And ironically, you see, I am a recovering parentified daughter myself, but I am the youngest. So it does not discriminate, right? You can be parentified. It doesn't matter the order. More often than not, if you are a highly sensitive person, very attuned to the needs of others, if you are very caring, and the child that display the that sense of responsibility, often is the parentified child and the one that gets displaced the responsibility of fixing problems, the emotional manager, the family therapist, and so on and so forth, the family ATM, etc. And it is very interesting because this also came up this week, how as a parentified individual and an adult child of dysfunctional families, we can vacillate between being that golden child, the poster child that it's like for instance, for me, like good girl syndrome, um, people pleasing and trying to make everyone happy, and then becoming a bit of the scapegoat or too much. Why? Because especially as we do this work of healing and growth, we start to metabolize our anger. We start to metabolize all of these suppressed emotions that we had repressed as a survival mechanism. So we replaced them in the past with doing, right? So we became human doings instead of human beings in the past. And that is why the more we become aware, and let's see, yep. Oh, Sally says, yes, empath. That's right. And it's very interesting because we say, are you an empath or a codependent? And let me clarify, right? This is from a place of love, respect, and compassion, especially as a recovering parentified daughter myself, is that sometimes we confuse pity for love, and we are very empathic, and we are drawn to these personalities that we feel compelled to rescue. And that is why we create codependency. Not that we are codependent, that we are relying on others to save us in the sense that they are going to fix things for us. No, it's the opposite. We enable. So, because it gives us a sense of responsibility, of validation of who we are as a parentified person, we get this adrenaline, from helping to our detriment. However, it also draws attention away from our own compassionate accountability and responsibility to do the inner work and to look within at the ways that we may be enabling these dynamics. Because sometimes we do attach ourselves to being, for instance, a martyr. We attach ourselves to this notion of, I almost like a messianic figure, the rescuer, the savior. And I am here to compassionately hold the mirror and tell you that no, you don't have to do that anymore. It is exhausting. Heck, I'm still recovering from all the emotional management I had to do during the holidays. Okay. But we'll leave it at that. If you are part of my newsletter, you know what I'm talking about. Because I said, you know what, this year and lately, I've been embracing the value of vulnerability, right? I always encourage my members, my clients to embrace empowered vulnerability, not to overshare, but to embrace empowered vulnerability, to express what you are feeling in a way that can also be helpful, that can be connecting with others, because we tend to isolate due to our hyper independence. And we are here to simply let go of those of the hyper independence trap. We are here to let go of the hyper independence trap and connect authentically with others. Okay, let's see what. Yes, 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 says Sally. Let's see. Yes, that's right. Thank you for sharing. Sally says, no one else will if we don't. That's right. That's right. So, that being said, right, Many of us grew up with dysfunctional family dynamics, with emotionally immature or limited parents and caretakers and family, extended families. And we learn early on that our worth was tied to how well we performed and how well we met others' expectations. So we might we might have heard things like, what will other people think, right? Or felt this sting of criticism whenever we try to do something new, because we were so accustomed to being handed the script or the prescription of how things should go, because we grow up other centered, right? So if we are centering our attention on others, we struggle to identify, well, what are my passions? What are my own interests? What am I feeling? What do I want, right? What do I even like? So when we are accustomed to these dynamics over time, this this taught us that taking risks or even being authentic wasn't safe, right? So we have to mask what we truly want. We have to compartmentalize and, let me put this to the side. Well, I really like it, but uh, I guess I'll just have to wait because I I'm not a priority, basically. Over time, that those are the messages that we kept telling ourselves, our bodies. Oops, please do not, camera, don't you dare fall, right? So I want to talk about how this shows up in our lives, right? This fear doesn't just stay in childhood. When it comes to adulthood, the fear of judgment shows up in very powerful and debilitating ways. I witness this every week with my clients, hesitating to share your ideas at work, right? This is how it shows up. Hesitating your ideas at work, or even speaking up because you are afraid of being judged of how you may sound. If you don't sound smart enough, might as well stay quiet. Putting off a passion project for fear of judgment because you are afraid that if you fail publicly, I mean, how could you live with that, right? We just think immediately jump into conclusions like, oh my gosh, failure, failure, failure. And we also think about, saying yes to things that we don't want to do because we are afraid of disappointing someone, or, you know, someone else that we care about, other people. And this actually came up a lot in sessions this week. And I want to share, for instance, I remember, well, I mean, I could share countless stories of fear of judgment with my clients, coaching and therapy clients and members. I know that, for some of my clients, they have passion projects like, wow, I'm so passionate about cooking or doing makeup or having my own YouTube channel, for instance, right? And they are so fearful of coming off vain, that's right, or thinking that people will just judge them and say, who do you think you are? I mean, I have to admit, I was very hesitant to be on camera. Like I mentioned before, I've mentioned several times, for fear of, judgment. I know there are very mean people out there. But at the end of the day, what I told myself was this, and I'm hoping that I can inspire you, whoever you are, those who are watching. Let's see, and comment I so far if you can actually resonate with this, right? Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Oh, you're so sweet. You, Sally says, you have inspired me. Thank you so much. You're so sweet, Sally. I have to say that it can be debilitating because at the end of the day, one of my mantras, right? An affirmation that I tell myself, for instance, tonight, I was like, oh my God, again. Oh no, honey, lemon, my green tea, but I'm showing up. No matter what, I am showing up. Whether I would, I project my voice well or not, I am showing up. May not be great, but I will try as much as I can. And hopefully, I can humbly inspire you to do the same and to remember that more often than not, it's not about you. It sounds mean, right? And that's what I tell myself. We have so many gifts that we come with and that we develop throughout our life. Don't leave this world without sharing them because it's not about you. It's about the greater society, the community. And believe it or not, there is someone out there that could benefit from your story. Okay? Your story may be someone else's survival guide. Again, I repeat, your story may be someone else's survival guide. Don't forget that. And this is why it is important to remain focused, to have visuals, right? I always point to my whiteboard right here. And in the future, I hope to show you a little tour, my little home office that I am just putting a lot of visuals to remind myself of the importance of prioritizing my passions, who I am, what I want, and honoring my values in the process. So let me see. And I see more of you are joining. So happy. If you feel comfortable and safe to share, say hello and share with us where you are joining from. Let's see. Sally says, showing up through it all. I am having surgery next week and I will recover quickly. I know God is using me for his glory. Oh, well, I hope you do recover soon, Sally. Okay. So I I love that positive attitude. And please pace yourself because it is important too. It is important to pace ourselves, to also not put the pressure on us to pretend that we are well, right? If you're in pain, it's okay to cry about it and it's okay to ask for support and be vulnerable in the process with people that feel safe. So back to what has come up, right? And the ways that this fear of judgment shows up, right? Why it's time to break free. We've been talking about goals, but I don't want to put pressure on all of you, right? We've been talking about goals, but I am more interested in intentions and values. Why? Because values guide our actions, everyday actions. Your values should feel so natural that it doesn't feel like a chore to honor them, right? So, for instance, one of my values is family. It's at the top. And I have shared this with you multiple times. If you're a Self Worth Hub member, if you're a subscriber, that's fine. We're getting to know each other, and I'm grateful for your trust and for you to be here. So I think about, part of my passions is, so I created this membership. I want to help, other women who have been parentified, who come from dysfunctional family dynamics, heal, achieve inner peace, set boundaries without guilt, just like I have learned professionally and in my own healing journey. So how does that honor my value of family, right? Well, I know that the more I show up to help others, in turn, this can help my family because I will show up happier financially. I can assist them as well because it's been my career. It's part of my career, you see? And when you do something and you align it with your values, it just feels natural. And the reality is, fear of judgment is a story that we have internalized, but it's not the truth. Most of the time, people are less focused on us than we think. Right? We think like the moment that we show up, somebody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, look! Oh, she didn't do her hair the right way. Look at this side, the way that it's showing." I mean, maybe someone will be. Gee, kudos to you if you have that time. But at the end of the day, my point is that we are more focused on our fear of judgment than people are focused on us, to be honest. And I have the evidence for it because even myself, I'm like, geez, people are so busy, right? Even with their own fears, with their own lives, that we are debilitated by this fear. But the reality is, people are so focused on themselves and probably worrying about the same thing that you are worrying. So, hey, we're all in this together, little sip of tea. So, they're too busy worrying about their own lives. And if someone does judge you, their opinion doesn't define your worth. And I'm just going to say this in the most appropriate and professional way. Okay? I always love this saying: opinions are like anuses. Everyone has one. You know, comment I if you agree. You know, at the end of the day, everyone will have an opinion. So, what can we do, right? At the end of the day, that's just the reality. So, if we are able to focus on what we want, trust me, the more we can move forward, the more we can inspire others, and the more we can show up authentically, and the more our relationships can improve because we're not like living our lives based on this prescribed narrative and resenting everyone for not moving forward and pleasing everyone. So I want you to think about this. What dream or passion have you been holding back? Okay. What dream or passion have you been holding back on because of this fear? Okay. Please write it down. If you feel comfortable, please type it in the chat, right? What dream or passion have you been holding back on because of this fear? And I want you to think about, if that fear wasn't there, what would you do differently? Okay? If that fear wasn't there, what would you do differently? I want to check the chat to see if any of you has shared. So if you feel comfortable, share one or two of your fears, okay? I would love to hear from you. Penny for your thought. Okay? So let's see what. Okay, look at that. Let's see. Let me share that. Thank you so much. I am a background actress. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's see. I'm looking away because I'm looking at the comments. Okay, let's see. I know if I let the fear go, I can go higher. That's right. That's right. Beautiful. Okay. And that is the reality, that sometimes because we have this fear of judgment, because someone has told us, like, oh, maybe, you're not going to succeed in that. That is not sustainable. But you see, more often than not, people are speaking from their own experiences. They are projecting their own insecurities, their own sense of um, limitations, right? Their own limited beliefs. And here we are internalizing all of them instead of thinking critically about the fact that they are another human being with different experiences, and we should not grant them so much power over our lives, right? And then what happens if those folks are our loved ones, right? Sally's good. Thank you for sharing. You see, more often than not, we we are paralyzed by these fears because they are dictated by our parents. So it is important, and I want to acknowledge the fact that, of course, for instance, I don't come from a privileged background. So I knew that I had to choose a career that would allow me to pay the bills, and I had to pay for my college, right? I wasn't going to put that on my parentified mother, okay, as well, because she was parentified, then I was parentified. More on that in future calls. And the reality is that it is important to be realistic, but also dream. We can always achieve some balance. It is possible. It is important to remember that we have the power to visualize, and we have the power to put into action, to put in the actions, hopefully, with our weekly accountability meetings. You hold yourself accountable. You show up here. If you are a Self Worth Hub member, you have your accountability partner. You find one, you change one, however it is, you ask for support in the community. We also show up every other week. And you say, I will show up for myself because I deserve that. At the end of the day, that is the only way that we can undo this internalizing of this fear of judgment and this prescription of limited beliefs that we have been handed unfairly to us by our parents, by friends, by extended family members, by intimate partners, you name it, right? So I want to invite you to do a little visualization, right? Because I want to be mindful of the time, and we're almost coming to a close, right? If you can, I want you to relax your shoulders, and I want you to sit back or lay down if you can. Let me see. Let me check the comments. All right. Beautiful. I choose to rise. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, at the sound of the bell, I want you to close your eyes if you can. Okay? Take a deep breath in through your nose, expanding your belly. Hold it for 4 seconds. And release, pretending that you're blowing out a candle. Imagine one thing that you have been longing to do, something that excites you, something that you have been so eager to do, but you haven't. I want you to picture yourself doing it. I want you to feel the joy, feel it in your body. See what comes up. I want you to feel the energy, the freedom of what it feels like to be doing that passion. That's something that you've been longing to do for a long time. Now, I want you to imagine the fear of judgment melting away from your body as if it is floating away, right? Floating off like a balloon. You are left with just you and your dream. And this feeling of excitement for your passion, this good energy, this freedom, right? How does that feel? I want to know what comes up for you. I want you to take a moment to share in the chat or write it down for yourself what came up, right? So, what would you do if fear wasn't holding you back? I would love to hear from you. Let me check the chat. Okay, let's find out. I will give you a moment to reflect and write it down. And if you feel comfortable, please do share in the chat. Okay, so as we wrap up the live stream, I want to share 3 ways to start moving forward and to start moving past the fear of judgment this week. I want you to, number 1, start small. I want you to pick one low risk action toward your dream, like sharing your idea with someone that feels safe. Very important, someone that feels safe. And if you are a Self Worth Hub member, make sure that you reach out to your compassionate accountability partner or find one. Make sure you sign up if you're not a member yet. Okay? It's a low monthly price. It's less than the average copay, actually, at least in the United States. So hopefully you feel compelled to join. Number 2, I want you to challenge the negative thoughts that come up for you. So number 2, challenge the negative thoughts that come up for you. When fear creeps in, I want you to write it down and ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen, right? Is this fear based on fact or an assumption? And can I live with that, whatever comes up, right? Number 3, I want you to focus on your why. I want to remind you, to remind yourself that this dream is so important. And I want you to truly reflect on why this dream matters to you. Let your passion speak louder than your fear. Remember, do not leave this world without sharing your gifts. Okay? So I want to know which of these 3 steps feel more doable to you this week. Okay? Please comment. Okay? What can you do this week before we go? If you feel comfortable, if it feels safe, I want you to share it in the chat. Okay, so let me head to the comments. And okay, there we go. Oh, beautiful. Oh, thank you, Sally. I would love to see you there. Sally says, I'll sign up. I would love to have you be a part of the Self-Worth Hub. And by the way, it's prices are going up this week. If you do join this week, you will be grandfathered at the monthly price of $27 per month. Okay, as long as you remain a member in good standing. I want to also share that some of the perks of signing up is you do get to share with amazing, amazing people. Like, I just feel so blessed, so lucky, and honored to be of service and to be in community with the amazing people that are the Self-Worth Hub members. You do get an app. We launched an app. So everything is at your hands, at the tip of your fingers. And we have a community away from social media. I also incentivize my members by giving out gift cards. Every month we have a winner. So if you show up to every live call, you engage, there is a winner. We've had two already because I started this initiative in November and it's been wonderful. So who knows? You may be the next one. And something that we have is we have guest expert every month. We meet at a more personal level, so you get more personalized support from yours truly, Karina Ivan, psychotherapist and coach. Every other week via Zoom, we meet and you have meditations, audio exercises, worksheets, you name it. We have a treasure trove of resources, actionable resources, and the library is ever evolving. And I wanted to make sure that it is not overwhelming. So I strive to make the resources as concise as possible. And as usual, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. We also meet here every week. So I would love to see you there. I would love for you to. You're so sweet. Sally says, sold. You see, I want to share, I want to be vulnerable as well. It's taken me a long time to openly encourage people to sign up for the membership because I never want to sound salesy. This is such a vulnerable, such a delicate topic that I want to make sure people feel safe, okay? And know that this is something that I see it, I feel it more as part of my mission in life. And that's why I don't intend to, even my rates as a psychotherapist, I strive to also accept health insurance. And that's why I have a wait list and why I created the Self-Worth Hub membership, because I want to be accessible. But it is a passion of mine. And it took a while for me to openly say, like, sign up for my membership, because I was like, oh, what would people say? Oh, so anyways, if you feel called for it, if you feel compelled, if it resonates, you can also reach out to me to see if it's a good fit. At the end of the day, no hard feelings. Your well-being is my priority. That's it. And I hope that I can see you there. Let's see. Anyone wants to share in the spirit of compassionate accountability, since we are closing this session, right? What small commitment or passion, what small step can you do for yourself, right? I want to remind you of the 3 steps that we shared before, right? So that we can move past the fear of judgment. I said to start small, pick one low risk action this week, then challenge yourself, right? Challenge the negative thoughts. When they come up, just ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? Number 3, ask yourself, why is this important? Why is this passion? What is this, goal of mine? What is this something, this project that I've been putting off, but I've been fearful? Why is this important? And remember not to leave this world without sharing your gifts, because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about who you can benefit with your gifts. Like I shared before, I have clients that want to be makeup artists, right? And then they chose like being an attorney, or they're afraid of having their YouTube channel or doing a travel blog, whatever it is, because of fear of judgment. And at the end of the day, there is someone out there that could benefit greatly from what you have to say, what you have to share. Don't forget that ever. Okay? So, again, I want to remind you that breaking free from fear isn't about being fearless. It's about taking action despite the fear. Like today, like I said, I'm going to show up, even though my throat's starting to hurt. I'm just going to show up with my little tea with lemon and honey and hope for the best. Uh, you know, I was like, oh man, my hair, I don't know. Oh, I'm going to put it to the side because I wanted to wash it. Whatever. I said, I'm just going to show up. Karina, it's not about you. Just be quiet. Inner critic. Get out of here. So I showed up. Right? Like I said, may not be 100%. Other weeks may be better, but at least I showed up. And at least I fulfilled that commitment. And I hope that you found this insightful or helpful in any way. I don't take your time and trust for granted. Right. So again, I want to remind you, you are stronger and more capable than you realize. And every small step counts towards that goal. I want you to identify what that is. What is that for this week? Because that's what we are here. That's why, even though we have themes, we call it Compassionate Weekly Accountability Meetings. So I want you to share. Let me check the chat before we close the live. All right. Anyone? Oh, it's so sweet. Sally says, I needed this so much. Okay, I see. There are more of you, but it's okay. If you don't feel compelled to share, it's fine. I'm grateful that you are watching, regardless. Okay. And I want to thank you so much for spending time with me tonight, this afternoon, wherever you are. Like I said, your healing, your growth, and your dreams are worth it. They're so important. So remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress one step at a time, one day at a time. I know that at times it may feel like you don't want to show up. How can I show up if I have this mess? If I have this messy home, how am I going to show up online? If things are not going well with my relationship, how am I going to show up? If I just had an argument with a family member, how am I going to show up? Guess what? Oh, my finances are not straight. How am I going to show up? There will always be something. There will always be some crisis. There will always be something trying to prevent you from moving forward. But guess what? You are responsible for your future. You are the author of your life. So I want to encourage you to show up for yourself this week, just like you decided to show up today, right? Tonight. I don't take it for granted. So thank you so much for being here. The more you show up, the more it validates that, okay, hey, Karina, it wasn't in vain. So if this conversation resonated with you, I would love to see you back next week. Don't forget to subscribe so that you do not miss our future live calls and any of the daily, weekly healing and growth content that I put out with my channel that I am striving to grow. So for more information, if you want to delve deeper, for more coaching to help you heal and thrive, consider joining our Self-Worth Hub at www.karinaibar.com/self-worth. I will post it in the comment. I will pin it. So let this be the week that you take one brave step forward. Fear doesn't get to decide your life. You do. And I will see you next week. All right? Thank you so much for joining me. All right. Take care. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you all. Good night.